All right, and now it is time to grade some of these teams on the trade deadline. We brought in Ken Rosenthal. He talked about the teams and how he thought they did. We talked at the top of the episode when we went around the bases, who did what, but now it's time to grade them, and I'm bringing my producer Conrad out here to throw some team names at me, and I'm going to give you a grade for each team, and we'll see where they all stack up. So Conrad, come on out here.
Back at it again. The first team we have up is the Los Angeles Dodgers, adding Max Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Look, the Dodgers, the cream of the crop of this deadline, and I talked about it off the top, and I asked Ken about it, and he had the same thoughts here. They had the best trade deadline, so I have to give the Dodgers an A+ here. When you can go out and get the best starting pitcher on the market, and which may have been expected, but to then go out and add the best shortstop that we didn't even know was on the market, that's an A+ there for the Dodgers.
Love it. Next up, we have the New York Yankees, adding Rizzo and Gallo.
Look, I like what the Yankees added to their lineup. I feel like they really missed on adding where their biggest hole was. They needed to add pitchers. I'm going to give the Yankees a C+ here. I think they really did a good job adding what they needed in the lineup, but they needed to add pitching, man. And I can't believe they didn't do it. I really feel like, how do you go into this deadline as the Yankees and not add pitching? So for that reason, I'm giving them a C+.
All right, we're going to stay in New York and go over to the Mets, adding Javi Baez.
Okay, the Mets are the leaders in the NL East, playing good baseball, and really I thought had a chance here to separate themselves from the pack. And I feel like they didn't. They last second added Javi Baez. But like, is that the move? Is that the best thing they could have done? Like, add some pitching. We don't know what's going to happen with DeGrom. He's hurt. The rest of the rotation's not deep. Do something. They just add Javi Baez, which is a sexy pick, but I don't know if it's the great pick. He's not having the best year in the world. So I'm going to give them a flat out C. Just an average, didn't blow me away kind of deadline.
All right, moving on to the Boston Red Sox, adding Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, disappointed. Disappointed in the Red Sox. You have a year where you're not expected to win the division, and you come out of the gates hot and you stay hot all year, and you're the leader in the AL East and continue to be that team that is the staple of the AL East and riding high, and you get to the deadline where you have all these teams around you adding, and you add Kyle Schwarber to the lineup. Like, I get you're getting Chris Sale back, and that's going to be a big addition, but do more. Do more for the rotation. Do more for the bullpen. They didn't do anything, and it's disappointing. I'm giving the Red Sox a D.
Oh, all right. Well, let's take this out west to the San Francisco Giants, adding one Mr. Chris Bryant.
All right, San Francisco Giants. Another situation where kind of a surprise team. So I look to them at the deadline, like, what are these guys going to do? They really got to make a splash here. They got to go get a pitcher. They got to go get some offense, and they didn't. But they did add Chris Bryant, who, in my opinion, is a great add for the team. I love that pickup. I think he gives them a jolt of energy, a shot in the arm, but that's the only thing they did. He's the only addition. I would have loved to go see them get one of the big pitchers out on the market, whether that be a Scherzer, who was talked about, an NL West team he was going to. It ends up with the Dodgers. They don't end up getting a pitcher at all and just get Chris Bryant. So for that reason, I give them a C.
All right, moving on to the Toronto Blue Jays, adding Jose Barrios.
I love what they did. I love what they did getting Barrios, who's not just a loner. He's also under contract through next year. So they had to give up a little bit to get this, but I love them going for it. Their offense is there. When I look at the Blue Jays, I think this team is where they need to be. They just are some pitching away. They go out and add Jose Barrios, who they get through this year, through the playoff push this year, and they get next year. And they add an underrated move this year, a reliever, Brad Hand, from the Nationals, which is a great pickup, kind of overshadowed by how electric this trade deadline was. But they needed pitching. They go get one of the great starting pitchers at the deadline, and they go get a great reliever as well. I give the Blue Jays a B+ for their grade at the deadline.
Love it. Moving on down to Atlanta, where they added Duvall, Soler, and Rodriguez.
So Atlanta's deadline was a confusing one to me. I didn't know whether they were going for it or gonna sell. Acuna gets hurt. Ozuna's done. Soroka's hurt and out for the year. This team is a shell of what they were going to be at the beginning of the year, and I had them as the World Series champions before all of that happened. Now, things have gone very south for the Braves, and they're kind of allergic to being 500, but nobody in the NL East is pulling away. So the Braves decided to go for it. And how did they go for it? Well, it was a little interesting. They went and got a bunch of power hitters to throw in the outfield. Adam Duvall, Jorge Soler, just guys that are going to strike out and they're going to hit bombs, which are good pickups. I think they needed to get those. But the pickup I really like for them came in after the deadline of, about 30 minutes after we hear they get Richard Rodriguez from the Pirates, who in my opinion was one of the great relievers on the market, who's a little under the radar because he was with the Pirates. So I'm going to give the Braves a B-. The B- for the Braves, just for going for it, and they got a couple big pieces. So B- for the Atlanta Braves.
Got it. Last but not least, the Chicago White Sox, adding Craig Kimbrell.
So the White Sox didn't do a ton, but I don't believe the White Sox needed to do a ton. Their rotation, top to bottom, is elite. Their lineup is great and getting healthier. They're getting guys like Eloy Jimenez back. Luis Robert could be coming back. They're getting healthier and healthier. Grandal's coming back, so I love their pitching rotation. I love their lineup. And then the only issue for me was their bullpen. They have a guy like Hendricks at the back end of the bullpen who's dominant, but how are we getting to him? Do we have that piece to bridge the gap to Hendricks from the starters? And they went and got Craig Kimbrell, which was just a dynamic pickup for me. The best, when you look at a fit for a team, this is exactly what they needed. They add Craig Kimbrell. They get another pickup of Ryan Tepera. I love what the White Sox did, and I'm going to give the White Sox an A- for their trade deadline.
Great. Now, this one hurts my heart a little bit, but the final team that we have, Seattle Mariners.
F. An F for the Mariners. I'm disappointed in what the Mariners did. You have these young guys. You come up. It's exciting. I don't think they're going to compete this year, but they end up competing. So it becomes a situation of what are you going to do at the deadline? I would understand either way. Be buyers if you want and go for it. I don't think that's the right move. Or, sell some of these pieces that you do have and build more for this future that is so bright for this team. And they did nothing. They make this one trade where they get rid of their best reliever and give him to the first place team in that division for, Toro and Joe Smith, who look, Toro could be a good ball player someday, he has been, but what are you doing? Are you buying or are you selling? And then DePoto needs to come out, the GM, and say, look here, guys, I know what I'm doing here. We're buying and we're gonna go for it and make a good playoff push. And then they do nothing. They go get Diego Castillo, who's not the best, he's not as good as Graveman. And in his first outing with the Mariners, he gets up a walk-off home run, and it really just kind of deflates the team, I thought, from what I've heard from them, deflated the fan base, and you have all this excitement building up, and you just really botched the trade deadline, in my opinion. So an F for the Seattle Mariners. And that does it for our grades. We did a little who's in, who's out from last week. Now we're doing some trade deadline grades. So look, I also wanted to mention some teams that did well on the selling end. I look at the Nationals and the Twins as a team that did great on the selling end, but that's to be determined. To be determined. So that was fun. Love bringing Conrad out here and giving some grades. And I'm glad he asked me about the Mariners because I felt like they really failed there. Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.